Well, it's an honor to be here. Thank you for the invitation. Good morning. Good morning, Enid. Good morning, Mom. Good morning, Dad. Good morning, family. All my family's in Enid. It's great to be here. 25 years ago, last month, I graduated from Enid High.
Oh, wow.
And then when Steve was leading in on the 25th show, the first thing I thought when I think of Enid in 25, Mark Price. That was Mark Price's jersey number. And the Price family did so much with basketball lore in Enid, Oklahoma, from Mark, then his younger brother Matt, youngest brother Brent. That's what I thought of when I thought of the 25th show. So thanks for allowing me to be here today, and it's my honor to be here.
Well, thank you for joining us. And as Steve mentioned, you visit each of the 77 counties in Oklahoma every year. So what are the similar challenges do you see that the cities face across our state?
Well, there are many similar challenges. There's some uniqueness, of course, as well as I go to these different cities and towns. But the reason I do it is for the purpose that you stated in your question. I just don't go to every county every year for the purpose of saying at the end, I went to every county every year. It's purposeful, it's goal-oriented. Everywhere I go, I have a town hall meeting or I meet with business owners or community leaders. I ask two non-rhetorical questions, whether it's a one-on-one meeting or, again, if it's a town hall. First question I ask is, based on your life experience and your business model, what's Oklahoma's greatest impediment to growth? And my follow-up question is, based on your business model and your life experience, what's your advice to me as Lieutenant Governor and small business advocate to address that impediment so we can mitigate it, lower it, lessen the burden, and you can thrive and prosper as a citizen, as a business owner, et cetera, et cetera. So to answer your question, some of the similarities. Infrastructure is a challenge around Oklahoma. We've made great advancement with reinvesting in roads and bridge funding in the last 6 to 7 years, roughly. We've made great strides, but there's so much more to do. This year, when I did the 77 county tour, I did 77 counties in 77 days. So it was very interesting this year because the condensed, now I'm still traveling, I've done about 20 more counties since, but have that condensed town hall meeting format in 77 days. At the beginning of that, we talked a lot about water and the drought. Well, fast forward to present day, here in June 2015, now we're talking about flooding and excess water. So some of the challenges changed too.
We swim at my in-laws' swimming pool just about every day in the summer. It's quieter and there aren't as many people, obviously. And on June 5th, we went swimming for what we thought was going to be about an hour. And my two oldest daughters, their ages 8 and 6, were swimming in the pool, and my 3-year-old had a floaty, a puddle jumper wrapped around her body. She was swimming with them too, and I was on the patio with my mother-in-law and our newborn. And my third, B, we call her B, her name is Britton, but we call her B, she got out of the pool and said she had to go to the bathroom. And so I left my mother-in-law on the patio with the baby, took B inside, and she had an accident, so I got her all cleaned up and sent her back outside to the patio with my mother-in-law and said, go get a new swimsuit and put your floaty back on. And I went back inside to clean up. And I heard the baby start to fuss from inside the house, but I knew my mother-in-law was with them, and my mother-in-law had told B to wait. She said, you wait here for mommy. And then the baby started to fuss. My mother-in-law started taking care of a fussy baby, and I was inside the house for probably about 5 minutes. And as I went to walk outside and I stepped on the patio, I talked to my mother-in-law for a minute, and then over her shoulder I saw B's bottom bob above the water in just her swimsuit. And so I screamed and ran, and they don't float when they drown above the water. They kind of float under the water, and so she had bobbed up and then gone back under and was completely lifeless. And so I jumped in and I pulled her out, and I was screaming, she's gone, she's gone. And I screamed for my mother-in-law to call 911. And all of my children are there at that point. The two big girls are there, so they're witnessing all of this. And B was gray, and her lips were purple, and her eyes were open, but she was not there. And so I instantly didn't think to do CPR because I just was grieving and scared. And so I just started screaming, what do I do? What do I do? And so my mother said push. And then I remembered that 3 weeks before I had taken a CPR class and gotten certified in CPR. So I laid her on the ground and I started pushing and nothing was happening. And so I did chest compressions. And after the first round of chest compressions, she started to seize on me, so she had a seizure. And so I couldn't give her mouth to mouth. And she began to vomit. I did chest compressions again. She began to vomit again. At that point, I could hear the sirens. The firemen were there so fast. I could hear them coming, but I knew that I couldn't wait on them. And she vomited multiple times and had multiple seizures. And I picked her up and ran her under the patio because I kind of thought that I didn't think I was going to get her back. And I wanted her to have her head on a soft spot because there was a rug out there. And just as I laid her down, she vomited again, gallons of water, and blinked and moaned. And I turned her to her side, and right then is when first responders stepped on the patio, and she was alive. She was alive. I don't know how, but she was alive.
Now, how many movies have you made?
This is our number 6.
Number six.
Sometimes
Yes.
I don't know where I am, so 6 will be fine.
4 of them have won film festivals, so
Wow.
we're very blessed with that.
Wonderful. How do you get your ideas for your movies?
Well, I do the writing,
He kind
I
of
do
goes
the
off
directing,
center a little bit,
and it just
comes to him.
when you travel, yeah, there's nothing else up in there.
I
so.
get him. See, I produce them, so he goes about 10 pages at a time, brings them in, and then, as they say, we cuss and discuss them to see if we can afford to do it, how hard it will be to find locations and
But I like
drag people.
it gives the idea when you travel, New Mexico, Colorado, or whatnot, it starts coming to you and say, boy, this area we could do this, or we could do that.
And we change it as we go. His script for 99% of the people are in stone. But for myself, as you can imagine, he lets myself and another character kind of start here. And if we end up back at where we're supposed to be, it's okay. But he kind of lets us add
Yeah, I
lib as
learned
we
long
go.
ago that
We're not going to stay on a script.
they're going to say what they want to anyway.
We're
so
just going to go
those
with
two.
it. And he's kind of ended up writing a lot of comedy scenes, you might say, for us. And so it works out for us. So kind of lighthearted, you know. So, but we're mean. We're tough. We're good guys. But we can shoot in the air and kill 4 or 5 bad guys. It's just terrible. We're good shots. So.
Oh, so it's not all jokes,
Oh
huh?
no!
Yeah,
It's
no,
very
we
serious.
have a lot of gun fights, a lot of fist fights.
We got to take care of the, ridding the world of bad people. So it's our
very
job
good.
in life,
It's a hard job, right?
It
But
is.
someone
It is
has to
terrible.
do
It's
it.
Somebody's got to do it.
It's terrible.
Now, who are your audience and who buys your movies?
Anybody that has money.
That's right. We found a niche that young kids love them because for years, young kids couldn't watch Westerns because the language was so bad. And we also sell a lot to adults that remember their childhood.
Yeah.
Because everybody grew up playing cowboy. And so we found a niche that nobody's doing.
Plus, we do ship them overseas to Japan and England and Germany. So
We ship
I don't
some,
know if they
Wow,
understand what we're
Japan,
saying, but who
yes.
cares?
we
You
ship,
know, it's just one
we
of those
shipped some
deals.
as far away as Wacomas last
Yes.
week. So, you know,
It was
we get
the mileage, the mailing cost was pretty tough to Wacomas, but we did.
But you were able to
Well,
make
we
it
were
work.
able to,
We
yeah.
made it work.
We hand delivered it if we had to.
Speaking of tours, going to Vietnam, I mean, we're talking 1967?
67, 68. That's
68.
right.
How did you prepare yourself and your crew to face the challenges of being on a foreign country, facing a hostile environment? I mean,
Well-
we have internet now. We can look at things. Back
Yeah.
then, how would you
Well,
explain that?
it was a foreign country, and it was a hostile environment. There's no question about that. But how I prepare myself, really, it started early when you had to have discipline. You had to have discipline throughout your life, and it certainly carried over into the training phase of flying. And the discipline through training instilled in you on what it took to become a successful combat pilot. And over in Vietnam, once you became an aircraft commander, all that responsibility was on your shoulder to perform every mission and complete every mission, no matter what the enemy condition or weather. And as long as you kept your men informed, you knew that they would perform magnificently, and they did. Mm-hmm. And so how we prepared ourselves was as simply because we were prepared, and we knew that we were going to face the enemy, and we had clear motivation to help the men on the ground. No matter what the situation was, we knew we were going to complete the mission somehow. And it was clear motivation right there. And as far as preparing ourselves, it wasn't any more than, guys, let's get this thing cranked up. We got to go. And I let them listen to everything that was going, all the radio traffic that was going on in my headset. They also listened to it all. And they were usually a step ahead of me in preparation. And they knew I'd take care of my end of it, and I knew they would too.
Wonderful. It sounds like you had a great crew.
Every one of them were.
Yes.
They sure were. And we were all volunteers, every one of us. And so we're highly motivated bunch of guys, young guys too. I turned 23 over there, and I had some pilots that were 19, just getting ready to turn 20. Oh yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Now, what is the message that you want to send out with your book on that note?
I collected my thoughts on the last page of the book, and it took me a week to write the last page. And I wanted everybody to know, you'll think when you read it, you'd think any sophomore in high school could have written this last page, and you're probably correct. But I wanted everything to be done right, and I had all the men that I served with in front of me when I wrote that page. And I wanted everybody to know I was representing them, and every one of us served with honor and dedication to our country. And the last thing I wrote in the book, and I signed my book this way, is that if you ask any of us, we would tell you that we'd do it again. That's how
powerful. Yeah.
Thanks.